I went to a huge book fair. As you can see, I have around 20 plus books over here. Yeah, this is the first for me. I had to buy two, three, but this is what I have got myself. Is my Birkin bag because I can keep everything. Like how it's structured. Look at the design. Has a nice base, very steady to hold my essentials that I need. It can even hold my water bottle. I don't know how much is this, but it fits. I have the diary inside where I'll take down notes and recollections, thoughts, and observations. Then the best time used just sunscreen in this for today. Very important. Hand cream. Always. Perfume for the day. On the clothes. If you have body hair and you spray perfume or body mist on this, it lasts. There's a science behind it that hair and clothing fabric hold, they lock in the scent and don't let it evaporate, unlike the skin. They trap the scents. Okay, so the weather is being amazing right now, and that's the best time to record. Well, April was kind of eventful, and it turned out into a huge book haul kind of month. I wasn't aiming for it, and my wallet is crying for sure. I went to this huge book fair after years, and then somehow a week or two later, I happened to stumble upon one of my most favorite bookstores back in Delhi, the Bahari Sons, and it was such a pleasant surprise. They have opened up in my city, and I had no idea. Plus, it's inside a cute cafe, a cafe that I frequently visit, and I prefer the atmosphere of that cafe. It's the AMA had opened up its branch in that mall, and inside the cafe, one section of the cafe is partitioned with bookshelves, and you have Bahari Son. So now, and I got some books from there. But honestly, this month also made me think a lot about the book culture, book shopping, scene that is changing in India, especially in the age of book and your online social media reading culture. Yeah, so visiting to such a huge book fair, and I had to go there, and it was my first time. Yet again, many of my first post cancer and emotional experience as well, both feeling a sense of accomplishment that hey, I'm going out back into the field, back to the place that I loved most, my childhood memories. I remember going with my dad to the secondhand bookstores. Most of the books that I have in my possession are secondhand. All these events going on in the city, in this particular huge ground of your city's major cultural events and fests organized, they would always have a separate tent for books piled up all very chaotically, and they would be selling books by kilos. And back then I didn't have to choose books because somebody online was telling me to go and read this book, or even minutely mentioning there were not screens in my hand to show me that these are the books to read, to buy, to be something, to feel something. Sometimes I would pick a book just because I found the cover beautiful or the illustrations on it, and I gravitated towards the cover, read the name, and it was something new, the author I've never heard of, and I would buy that book. Or sometimes it would be I would read the synopsis, the back of the cover, and found the plot interesting. Other times it would be that I read a book by a certain author and then loved how they have written, loved that work, and so would like to explore more of their works. So I would go with the list in my hand, give it to the bookstore owner that if you have these books, I would like to read, and choose books just out of pure curiosity, whether the the curiosity was instilled through the synopsis at the back of the cover, or it was just the cover of the book that got my attention. Some of my most cherished books that I own are the ones that I found through mere curiosity, mere wonder, being completely clueless about what this book is going to deliver. There was something magical about not knowing what I'm looking for. I only started buying books online after COVID. I mean, not exactly after COVID, but after my treatment finished, because I was diagnosed during the second wave of COVID in 2021. This is for those who don't know. Nobody actually knows. I never put out a dedicated story. So, just for the context, I started buying in 2024 because that's when my eyes started feeling a bit better. I got used to these dry eyes and the artificial tear in my eyes. This still troubles me a lot, and my book reading depends on these eyes alone. This is a very troubling thing in my life that stops me from doing a lot of things that I want to do, how I want to spend my life, but somehow still dictates on how I use and divide my time. Seeing rows and rows of books, piles of them, it made me feel really excited. Like I was like back in my element. And a part of me will always romanticize these physical bookstores and physical experience of buying books. Picking up a book, going through the chapters, feeling the paper, and the dust. Oh, I hate the dust now. Ever since I've become sensitive post cancer. But yeah, it was an experience in its own way. That sensory thing. A lot of the books that I have bought aren't randomly picked. Let me take them out. So I was telling you that a lot of the books that I've bought aren't impulse buys. They have been resting on my wish list for many, many years. And it's funny how my very first introduction of Jane Austen actually happened through an extremely simplified version of Emma, the Oxford University Press, and we had it in our English literature course back in class 6th. So that means I was 11 years old. You can see how simplified this is. It has some of the most beautiful illustrations that I've ever seen. It has these exercises. I loved these classes. I loved all my English teachers, especially English teachers and my Hindi teachers as well. They were all so encouraging. But back to the topic. So, 67-page book costed, I don't know, I think it's 95 rupees. Made me run to the bookstore with my dad in Search for Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Later became one of my most favorite classics ever. It's like a Bible to me. Buying Emma now almost feels nostalgic in a way. So really excited about this one. Picked up works connected to Charlotte Bronte or Bronte, whatever, whichever pronunciation you prefer. But I have always pronounced her name as Charlotte Bronte. Most of her works, like Jane, I read them back in school in my school library. So got Willette. I hated my school for the fact that they had such a good collection of books, but they were very stingy when it came to letting us borrow books. There was not a system of library card, and as an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, I was not allowed to read certain books from the library. They were marked with tapes, yellow tapes, red tapes, green tapes. I understand for some part of it because some had exploring themes that were more suited for a mature audience, and another was Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. Okay, this book, it is from that age-long dusty wish list of the books that I never bought but I knew of. The thing that refreshed my memory into buying this book was I was watching an anime. Right now I'm forgetting the name, but the fact that this book was mentioned in a back scene, yeah, I think I remember. No, I still don't remember the anime. It was meal leads or something, their childhood stories. Mother was absent from their life. From these was a governess for an aristocratic family from which these one male protagonist belonged to. So three brothers, and the governess was almost like a mother figure from them, and the one dialogue kept on repeating one of the names. I don't know what was the name. I'm forgetting also the name of the character. The person who never feels pity or sorry for that particular character from this book, less miserable, has no humanity, something like that, along those lines. That was the dialogue. So yeah, that made me remember that okay, yeah, I need to buy this. It's hard that I read this book. I think two more. Yeah, from the classic section, I to this one with the fall of Icarus. It was just they had the black little classic penguin classics on piled up at the check counter, one of the stalls of the book fair. I feel so stupid for not picking up a lot because these were 70 each, rupees 70 each, and there were 2-3 more that intrigued me, but like this was on the top, and I just like picked it up and threw it while he was counting the total. So bought William Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. I have read again, like Charlotte Bronte's work and other classics, Leo Tolstoy, Charles Dickens back in my school library. I had read most of the. If you are from, ICSE board, you must have come across and read Shakespeare's work. But this Antony and Cleopatra, I don't know why I avoided reading this for some reason. One, for the fact that it depicts and it's a play on historical figures, so I thought, my young mind thought that it's a play, how real and close could it be to the reality, and I might not enjoy it. I don't know, stupid or whatever, like an amalgamation of all these stupid excuses. I avoided Antony and Cleopatra, so I finally picked up this book. I'm gonna enjoy this, I know. I got Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. This one is from a recent wishlist. These days, but I really adore stories that can be read all in one go and that frighten you at just common heroes and moderate feelings, the sort that exists in real life. So that was enough to grab my attention. And I got another one, Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the names of the author, but yeah, this is my first time reading anything from this author. I was talking about books from my long awaited years and years of wishlist. These two are from that wishlist. Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. Look at this cover, it's so pretty. I have watched the movie way back when I was in high school. It is one of the most beautiful cinematography I have ever watched in my early life. This is one of those books that I kept putting off for later. I will buy later, and now the later has come. Excited to read this one as well. I also bought, after I didn't finish the show completely, Elias Grace, that was on Netflix. I was busy watching, I think at that time, Apothecary Diaries. Yeah, I started watching that and I left that show and then I completely forgot about it until again I got to know that it's based on a book by Margaret Atwood, and this is the cover. It's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. Glad to have this in my collection. This is a new wishlist of mine, The Myth of Sisyphus and Other Essays by Albert Camus. I read his The Stranger, and after that, I had to. This is again one of those authors that you read once and you just want to read all of the rest of their works. And The Outsider by Albert Camus. A new author that I read back in December of the last year. So this is the second book that I got of Sylvia Plath's poems. Much interested in poetry, not writing poetry, definitely not. I am not a writer of poetry, but I enjoy poetry. The cover is pretty, and I read a poem. Saying hall makes me feel like a criminal because this is something that I don't enjoy watching, and I consider it a part of overconsumption. Let's not go there because I did something similar myself, and I believe a lot of people practice this as well. But I understand the urge to splurge in one go when you are surrounded by things pertaining to your passions and interests. Yeah, so what I love about the books that I have bought and purchased, this haul that I have, is it reflects of who I am outside of just being a reader. Such books that really were of my interest, like I picked up a book purely on textiles. Let me show you with both my hands because it's heavy and I don't want to spoil it. This gorgeous books. It's on textile by the name When Indian Flowers Bloomed in Europe. It quickly grabbed my attention because it talks about textiles and fabric that were taken outside by Europeans when they came to India, and how Indian textiles influenced the Western fashion as we know of today. From 1600s to 1780, Masterworks of Indian Trade Textile 1600 to 1780 in the Tapi collection. It's by Abilkije. I don't know how to pronounce this name. You'll have to read it for yourself. This is the most expensive thing that I bought from that fair. So I was telling you that this hall reflects on the person I am and my interests. And I picked up this book on textile. This publisher, Niyogi Books. You know where they're from? He said that he is from Delhi. He had so many such printable books on textiles, and I was like, my mouth was watering. I took textiles for the specialization subject, which you have to do it for 3 years along with your main course. One subject apart from your department or your course in which you have to specialize. So I chose textiles because I am genuinely interested in Indian textiles, especially like to read about the history of various different Indian textiles and fabrics. I had done a lot of projects on that back in my college, and even though cancer, my life cancer especially, took away the chance from me to graduate from a fashion college to complete my fashion studies, but I still naturally gravitate towards textile history, fabrics, clothing, craftsmanship, and well, visual culture. My natural affinity to textile history and fabric, that is thanks to my mom. Very early childhood, I have watched every girl, watches her mom when she, dresses up. But I have watched my mom buying fabrics and getting her clothes stitched instead of buying ready-made clothes. And she still does that. When their online clothes, perfectly wearable clothes are selling online, whether it's suits or saris, but my mom still prefer, like most of her clothes, she prefers going to the fabric store, buying the fabric, and then getting it stitched by her tailor in her preferred design for each fabric. And I still remember as a child, I've always went with her to these fabric stores, only fabric stores, shops that sell only designed cloth, and get fabrics of whatever measurement you want according to the garment you are going to get stitched. Like with my dad, I have my best memories from the bookstores, and with my mom going shopping for to these fabric and cloth stores. And my groundwork started from like childhood. Like my mother taught me about different fabrics. Like what is chiffon? Where does this word chintz come from? Chintz is the fabric called cheap, and she has her own clothes from her college days that her sister stitched for her. Like she would choose the fabric, and her sister would make literally from like the fabric, stitch garments for her, for my mother. Your childhood surroundings and environment and your parents plays a significant role in the kind of interests that you develop. Not always, I won't say, and this is not a global phenomenon, but I'm saying that if you have parents who have certain interests, you are bound to be influenced by them one way or the another. I also found, I'm really excited to show this to you. Do you see the cover? It's so beautiful. It just grabbed my attention when I looked up at that particular stall. I just picked it up, opened it, didn't even read the name. I'm guilty of that. I was just interested what was inside it, what kind of coffee table book it was. But it turns out it's a book of an artist, and it contains all of his paintings. Parag, Chandra Parag, Chandra Parag, by this artist Shashikant Dhotre, and I have never heard of him. It is such a beautiful collection of paintings. I just fell in love with it, and it was like straight and mindless. You gotta see this. I don't know how much of it you are able to see, because it's the fact that it's painted this way. I am not a big fan of hyper realistic paintings. I am not a fan of those. I like realism, the concept of realism, impressionism. I am a big fan of those paintings, but hyper realistic paintings are not my cup of tea, but somehow the fact the almost dimmed down, there's a kind of a dark film over the real painting, like a dark filter, almost opaque dark filter over the painting. I just fell in love with these paintings. And these are portraits of beautiful women, Indian women, uh, that you will see. I mean, you can tell that he is from either Maharashtra, like the south of India, from the paintings and the way the jewelry the women are wearing, how they are wearing. A few of them are from Gujarat as well. So various portraits, and these are all portraits of women. As far as my creative explorations and interests are concerned, I am interested and gravitate more towards more than landscape painting. My forte is portrait painting, and I won't say a forte because I'm not a painter or professional, but since I was a child, I've always loved humans as a favorite subject, and especially women. I love drawing women portraits. All the whatever art that I have pinned up are portraits, pencil portraits of women. Whatever paintings that I have put out in my room decorated are all portrait paintings. I am. My god, there's a thunderstorm going on. Something just fell off. But like, I absolutely had to buy this. And another art books that I got are the seller was so kind. They're from Mumbai, I think. These two art collection. I'm a huge fan of Renaissance paintings, even Regency paintings. There were three, but I got only two. A Rembrandt's painting, and these art collections talk about paintings of a particular artist and really dissect it and explain it, the story behind it, about the artist, and all of those things. So one I got was of Rembrandt's paintings, and the other I have never heard about. This artist really piqued my interest, and he's Toulouse-Lautrec. I am definitely butchering the name again. It's Henry de Toulouse-Lautrec. His art style is again portraiture. This is the front. The seller was really kind. He offered me a chair since he saw me interested in these art books, and he got a few more. They were quite heavy, and I sat there flipping through pages of books, and there were so many art books and coffee table books on fabric, on history that are really Indian history that I wanted to buy, but then maybe next time, definitely. I completely lost myself in these books and this fair. I completely forgot how am I going to carry so much of the books. And what I did was buying this bundle from one seller and asking if you can keep it, and then going to the next one, and you keep my money with yourself so I can go and check out the rest of the fair. Because I went to around 3 to 4 stalls, and I had so much of those books that I couldn't carry in my both hand. I am very kind and sweet enough to let me keep those. And then I went through the rest of the fair. And by the time I returned to get back all books from those two sellers, it was so much that the first seller I got all these art books from, he gave me all these pink colored cloth bag. He helped me organize all my books so that I could carry it. So heavy. God knows how I got home safely that day. I think I reached home at 8 p.m. Somehow gathered up the courage and the strength to carry all these books. I got Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things, which was a winner of the 1997 Booker Prize. And on topic of interest, a much awaited. I've been dying to buy this book. I want to buy all the volumes of Vagabond somehow, but it's so expensive. Like one volume costs around 4,000. Of course, I buy mangas online at good prices and deals, but 4,000 for one volume is too much for me, so I got this second hand. But I wanted to buy this version of the manga. Other versions that are circulating around, pirated ones, that is not what I want. I want the OG version. There's a reason why I want to have this in my manga collection, Vagabond series. Apart from the story, the art of Vagabond just captivated me. The pen work that Inoue Sensei did is amazing. Like, it should be taught. The fair, I bought this for 1,000 rupees. So I got The Devil and Miss Prin and The Valkyries, two of the books that I haven't read of Paulo Coelho. This reminds me that while I was going and walking through the fair, going from stall to stall, I also started noticing something else. Almost every publisher, like stall after stall, I was seeing the same books at the top of the pile, same viral authors, the same viral books of those authors, same publisher, those same covers and colors. And after a point, it started feeling less like discovering books out of pure curiosity or pure fascination of the covers, like walking through the same recommendations by the algorithms repeatedly. It was a bit disappointing. One author I noticed, not one, many, like one of them was Murakami. Everywhere was repeatedly displayed that same black and red white covers, those same titles, Norwegian woods, Kafka on the Shore, you know the drill. Honestly, I have avoided his books over the years, partly because they have been so aggressively recommended online and all the time, everywhere, and partly because I have heard criticism about this author, the way he writes women, and I'm usually careful about authors and books like that. Like, I avoid it. If I am picking books like these, that means I'm trying to gaslight myself. But then something interesting happened. At one stall, I noticed they had a separate Murakami section. They had those metal bookshelves hidden behind the usual famous titles. So I started digging out of curiosity, and that's when I found Sputnik Sweetheart. I read the synopsis behind it and it intrigued me, so I bought it. I mean, the ending seemed very mysterious. It really intrigued me and it piqued my interest. And weirdly, that moment reminded me what I was missing at that fair till the point that I found this book. Not buying books because internet keeps telling me to do so. Really shove it in your face. But discovering something because your curiosity pulled towards it. I'm not saying popular books are bad. That is not at all what I am trying to say. A lot of them deserve the hype that they get online. Even I have bought books like that. Like Asako's Butter. It was through these online recommendations only because after going through the synopsis, not blindly buying the book again. A lot of the times, these books deserve the hype. A lot of them bring new readers to the author and the reading culture too, which is happening right now. A kind of a reading renaissance, as I've heard people quoting it, which is genuinely impressive and admirable at the same time. But I do think we are slowly losing the joy of accidental discovery when it comes to books. There are so many beautiful writings, beautiful stories, great authors, international authors, and niche topics, and unique perspectives and stories that never reach the readers because the publishers, the bookstores naturally prioritize books that are already popular online. Readers are really coming to the bookstore with the name of the most popular book, searching for it. It happened with me while I was fair and on two occasions. So Psychology of Money, Kafka, Metamorphosis, and then 2-3 other books that people I saw were seemed very interested in, books on philosophy, and and only when it comes to philosophy, the only books they were looking at, and the sellers were displaying Pototrovsky's White Knight. It was everywhere. As I was saying before, reading culture has started to feel more a curated one now, similar to the trend cycle when it comes to clothing, the fashion industry, not just clothing, the whole fashion industry. Same way the books are now feels much more curated, much more algorithmic, much more influenced by what is already online and selling fast. I think what I miss, finding books I never planned to love. Yeah, that is what I miss. Just stumbling upon books, getting curious. I mean, look at this book. Adult children of emotionally immature parents. How to heal from distant, rejecting, or self involved parents. I mean, I don't have to read books like these because I'm dealing with a particular situation. This just speak to my curiosity. I want to know about this section of the society. Doesn't matter that I do not think too much while buying books when it comes to that if it's going to be of any use to me. That is none of my business and my problem to think about, to worry about. The fact that this made me curious enough to buy is reason enough. I've never read The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up. So I got the summary and analysis. I have not read this book. I found it expensive for the, I don't know, for the price point. It was always 500 something online. And I just saw the summary and I think that this is enough for me. Somehow, as if all of these books weren't enough, discovered Bahari books in my own city after 2 weeks. I love Bahari Sons because they have a huge variety of books on philosophy, books on law, books on socio-political books, books on science fiction, fiction, fantasy, non-fiction, fiction, all the subgenres of non-fiction and fiction, everything is there. The Haunted Boy, Marcin McClure's Ecomo. This is supposed to be a book he wrote, very famous in-depth works. It's like an introductory to it. Virginia Woolf, Mrs. Dalloway. I'm gonna enjoy this because this is a novel from the author. The Fat Purchase was another vintage classic, Sodom and Gomorrah. Really excited to read this one. Now, this sums up all the books that I bought. I've got a huge TBR for at least 3 to 4 months, and in between, if I happen to buy books, I'll let you know. But I most probably won't, because all of these will take me time. Now that my eyes are super weirded out, are problematic, so all my reading depends on these. The health of my eyes is going to be a long video. If you stuck through it till the end,